This is a series of reefs ideas. These are all the same piece of reefs, just different animals on there. I want to try to think of every animal that I could think would be on a reef. The animals are about 8 to 12 inches long. Well, this little porky guy's a little short, 6 incher, but they're all the base to show you the scale. Here's a big old Larry the lobster, fat guy calling the lake. Here's some barracuda. They're not tinted yet. I tinted them in a later picture. Here's a stingray that's not tinted yet, no tail. I added that later. But here's another one I later tinted. You'll see. Here's a dorado. He's about, again, 6-8 inches long. Here's a wahoo, same size. You can see that from the back board how they're all the same. Here's some. I repainted those clownfish. Like I say, they look like cartoons. Here's a tinted stingray, what I had earlier. Here's the barracuda that I tinted. There's a giant Goliath grouper, supposedly. There's a sailfish. No, sailfish. And there's a sailfish after I tinted and put eyeballs on him. There's a marlin. I keep these billfish straight. There's I think that's one. I think the other was a swordfish. One's a sailfish. I can't tell them apart. Here is the same clownfish painted again. Here's a dolphin, or porpoise. Here's a bunch of stingrays before they're tinted. I don't think I've tinted them yet at all. Here's a giant clam and 2 scuba divers around it. Just give it scale. There's a pod of whales. These are sperm whales there. No, I don't think they were, but yeah. Here's a whale shark. Here's a hammerhead shark. Again, these are all the same size. You can see by the back. Here's a salt shark, actually. There's a salt fish. There's a great white shark. He's actually my favorite. Here's a mermaid. Here's a stingray with a tail added to it. Too pretty to tint that one. Too pretty piece of wood. Again, this cedar, it's actually juniper. Boy, it's just the prettiest wood, though. I just hate to tint it because you cover up the wood, but some pieces, a little color is good. Here's a bunch of a family of seahorses, the dad and the babies. Here's a sea turtle. I think I'll ice him later. Here's a hermit crab, if you can believe that. Here's some lionfish. Two of them on this one. Yeah, I just thought it looked better. It's just one kind of adds a little bit, having them on their spines interlock like that. And so it's only multiple pieces. It's a little bit bigger than the other reef series. Here's another angle of that. Those seahorses, you can't really see them any better. I tried it, but if you zoom in, they're just it's a dad and 6 babies. So yeah, there's just a little family of them. When you carve with this kind of wood, you don't have much of a control on the shading. I mean, on the color of it. You can see the sapwood is yellow and the heartwood is red, so they're all completely different. But I like them like that. Anyway. Here's a sperm whale. Another reef. He's a little bit bigger than the other ones. And, he's got to be. He might be a foot long. Just natural color. That's why it's just, you can't beat that when they're already streaked like that. Cracks on them. Yeah, they're not mounted. These are all just here. They're just on a standard background stump. And then here's our humpback whale. He's a little bit bigger than the rest of them. He's fair size. It's one I had an earlier video on. So this is what I'm trying to do. Just a 12-inch across, 12-inch high or so reef with a figure on it. And so it's just I call my reef series because they are reefs with a figure as opposed to a figure with a background or a stand of the reef. I consider these just pretty. The reefs are a lot prettier than the actual figure. The figure's more just of a highlight. So thank you for watching.